Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? What we're going to talk about right now is what is called multiple suspicious activity reports, or SARS, S-A-R-S. And this happens in banks, most likely led to the eviction of customers' accounts. And federal laws have little to say about the trigger for account cancellations. Did you know that banks have filed over 1.8 million SARSs? This marked a 50% increase in just 2 years. But this year, it's expected to hit nearly 2 million. Over 500 cases of customer account terminations by their banks show the chaos and the confusion that ensue when banks decide to cut off their own people. These situations are what banks refer to as exiting or de-risking. Some bank customers get a letter in the mail saying that their institution is closing all of their checking and savings accounts. This happens with debit cards, credit cards, and they are usually provided with only vague explanations. What's even worse, some of them don't even receive a notice, or they just discover when payments don't go through while they're shopping, availing services, or trying to withdraw money from the ATM. Of course, they would confront the banks, where customer service representatives are given instructions to just emphasize and promise to do whatever they can do to fix this problem for you, only to eventually tell them that per your account agreement, we can close your account at any time for any reason. Now, once customers have moved on, they don't know whether there's a black mark somewhere on their permanent record that will cause a repeat episode at another bank. If the bank has filed an SAR, it isn't legally allowed to tell you. And the federal government prosecutes only a small fraction of the people who the banks document in their SARs. And then, because of this, you feel like you're walking around with the scarlet letter. But banks won't admit the real reasons behind this. Now, J.P. Morgan said, "We want to build long-term relationships with our clients, which is why accounts are closed only after appropriate reviews are done and considerations of all the facts." The bank's former account holders sent nearly 200 complaints to a news outlet. Imagine for a moment, okay? You are a business owner, which many of us are, okay? And your chosen bank is J.P. Morgan. To make the accounting easier on your new staff, okay, say you own a restaurant, okay? You often round the deposits down to the nearest 1,000 to keep the rest of the cash on hand. JP Morgan closes your account, your business account, and your personal checking and credit card accounts. Now, federal law requires depositors to fill out a form if they're depositing or withdrawing more than $10,000 in cash. Sometimes account holders will engage in structuring by making a series of transactions just under $10,000. This was your business boo-boo, okay? The bank must know their customers and monitor the transactions that flow through their bank. And that includes instances where they see a pattern of cash deposits that are just below federal currency reporting thresholds. But as a business owner, you know that you have not been engaged in structuring when depositing money. All of the cash flow comes from your personal business, like if you have a restaurant. You also report all of your income and you pay your taxes like you're supposed to. You are obviously confused. What's going on? Why are they closing my accounts? What do you think? Do they think that you're a part of some underground mafia laundering money through your little business? Meanwhile, Jane Doe, okay? She buys a house in New York a few years ago. She withdrew money from one of her Citibank accounts separately, $7,000 to $12,000 per transaction. And this is to pay a contractor to redo her entire kitchen. She also uses the Citibank credit card with a 12-month zero interest offer to buy things for this kitchen remodel. The bank calls her asking, why are you making repeated cash withdrawals? Each time she explains the situation. She just assumed that they're calling her to make sure somebody's not stealing her money, and she was glad that they called. But Jane was aware of bank wariness of large transactions in round numbers. But she was taking out her own money and immediately giving it to a contractor to go to Lowe's or Home Depot, who is doing visible work in her home. Cash is a legal tender in this country. She understood that people hide their income, but she figured that's none of her business. I'm just having a regut done and a remodel done on my kitchen. John Doe. He's been advised by his BMO Harris banker that his banking troubles are because he served jail time. Chase dumped him. Then after 18-month relationship with Fifth Third Bank, it also shut down his accounts. So the banker says, I'm not supposed to tell you this. And he turned his computer monitor around to show John Doe his mugshot from 10 years earlier. John had never had any banking issues, no overdrafts, no suspicious activity. Some banks will actually run public searches on their clients and drop them if they are justice impacted. Now in 2011, John Doe, he was a jackass. He stole a BMW from a car dealership and used a counterfeit $20 bill, among some other things that he did. He served 5 years in prison, where he underwent cognitive behavioral therapy, earned several paralegal certificates. After he was released that year, a friend picked him up and they headed right to the bank so he could start a new life and have credit and stuff like this. He used a state-issued identification card and a check from the Department of Corrections when he opened up his checking account at Chase. But the bank, years later, shut down his account. Here's another example for you. A businessman from Nigeria. He's been working on for Morgan Stanley as a data analysis in New York, while also going to school and earning his master's degree in quantitative methods and modeling. While waiting for his employment papers from the federal government, his parents were sending him money from Nigeria, which was around $1,500 a month, to help him make ends meet and paying his rent. Chase Bank then sends him a letter saying that his accounts are now closed. They are aware of this man's study work, him going to school, and his family history, but they still closed his account after almost 10 years of banking with them. Well, he felt confused, betrayed, but he believed that the Nigerian wires were likely the culprit. And in this scenario, you cannot negotiate with a bank. You're not talking to a person or someone who has the power to tell you what went wrong and what didn't go wrong. Wires and suspicious electronic transfers are another common reason that banks will fire these SARSs. But in this case, the cause for suspicion was a third party that surfaced on his web of transactions. These scenarios that I have given to you, they're all actual scenarios. I just left the names out due to privacy reasons. I don't know any of them. I'm just being respectful. But this can happen to any one of us. Suspicious activity reports on accounts can range from the fact that you shop at an online store that your bank doesn't agree with, to what you're purchasing, to what you may or may not have done 30 years ago when you were an idiot teenager. Okay? Be mindful of everything, especially when it comes to the bank of your choice, where you shop, what you buy. Remember, somebody is always watching you. Okay? All right, guys, I'm out of here. I will see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fear less. Ciao.